Okay, so we'll get started on this here. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So just to avoid audio feedback, I'm going to keep everyone's microphone enabled, but I suggest you just mute yours until you are ready to ask something. And Scott, you need to turn it off. No go to meeting. Log out of that. Why do you log? All right, so today I'm going to talk about Commissions Inc. and houses.net. And most of you have heard me bring up houses.net before, but I don't know how many of you actually have used houses.net. And I wanted to point out a couple of features with respect to houses.net that will come in very, very handy. One of them, for example, is recommending properties to your buyers. So I got my iPhone here connected, and you should be able to see my iPhone on the screen. And I'm going to launch houses.net here on my iPhone. And this works the same on your Android device. And there are a couple of differences between houses.net and on your mobile device and houses.net on your computer, because you can access houses.net also from your web browser. I'm going to walk you through that so you understand exactly what the differences are between them. The application was designed really specifically with a view towards the mobile market, because the vast majority, I mean over 80% of people that are surfing the internet nowadays, that are using Facebook, that are going on websites, that are going on Zillow, are doing so from mobile devices. And that number is going to probably surpass 90% very soon. So it's not only critical for websites to be mobile friendly, number one, but also more and more companies are going into the market with just mobile application. I mean, there's some companies that don't even have websites anymore for their customers to interface, because it's such a small percentage of people that uses websites versus the giant percentage that uses mobile devices. And so with houses.net, there are a lot of functionalities or features within the mobile device that are not on the website, because this is specifically a mobile application. Houses.net is not something that is designed for buyers and sellers to go onto their web page. If they're going onto the web page, they need to go to your Commissions Inc. page and log in and access and search and do things like that. So but I'm going to point some of these differences out to you just so that you know them. And if you have a customer that says, hey, I logged into houses.net on my website and on my desktop, and I can't find XYZ, you said you recommended some properties for me and I don't see them anywhere, then that's obviously going to be a problem, and you want to be able to respond to them appropriately. So let's take a look at houses.net here. At the bottom, you have a properties, then you have search, then you have your inbox, where you can see received messages on your inbox, sent messages, and trash. And then you have your team. So let's start out here with properties. At the top, you have three tabs. One is recommended, which right now is blank, and we'll get back to that in a couple of minutes. The other tab is My Homes, and you can see some of these homes have a thumb up, and some of those homes might have a thumb down. And actually, you see at the top, you have the likes, and then we have dislikes here, thumbs down. And sorry, Jim, I thumbed down your listing just for training purposes. And as any other app, you can drag down the screen to refresh it. And then you get your schedule here, where you would find showings that might be scheduled. When you look at the listings, and again, this would be your buyer, you have access to all of the pictures and everything that you would have on the MLS, so it draws all of that from the IDX feed. You can thumb up or thumb down the property. You can request a showing, and I'm going to request a showing now for this property just so we'll see in the back end what that looks like. So I'm going to request a showing, and first choice, let's say, would be today at hold on, at 3:15, and second choice would be tomorrow at, let's say, 3:15. Okay, I'm going to send this out. I can pick my preferred contact method, and it verifies the phone number. Yes, it's correct. Okay, so obviously I am the agent here because I sent the invite to this test record, which is me as well, with a different email address. So I, as the agent, am going to get that information. I can also share my listing with friends. I can text it, email it, and so forth. And down here I have access to schools and all sorts of other stuff. So really everything that's there. And then I have notes up here, and I can add a note to it. And I'm going to just call this first note, testing. And I'm going to save it. Now, the idea here is, as people are searching properties or looking at properties, they have the ability to put notes on there. And remember, we have that team icon at the bottom where you can invite team members to collaborate. Okay, so I just had the text message alert pop up that somebody requested a showing. I'll show you that in a second. So when you look at the home buying process, generally speaking, very few people are lonely and alone at home buying by themselves without anyone else involved. Most homes are bought by people that are either couples or their families, or even if they're single, they might have their parents or somebody else that they get involved in the home search. And so with the Houses.net app, you can invite people to your team. And I just put my wife on here, but you can invite people. You invite the team member. They can be a co-captain that will live with you, or they're going to just give you advice on the property. And so the buyer has the ability to invite team members, like a spouse, for example, or parent or friend, to get feedback from them. And so obviously the team members are able to see what notes were left on the property and so forth, and who is thumbing it up and who is thumbing it down, So you could go ahead and here's just some activity. I added a note to it. If the team was there, then you would see the team members' notes as well. So with the team function, you have the ability to have the entire team give their comment. I mean, let's say, for example, you're looking for a potential investment property and you had 3 or 4 team members. They could all give their thumbs up or thumbs down on it. Or if you have a husband and wife and they're both searching online here and finding properties and saving them and giving it a thumbs up or thumb down, then the other person can see what's going on. So let's say, for example, I'm just here for giggles, searching on a property. Oh my God, Rick Marcuson just came in from Pinellas County. So I'm looking here at a property, and so let's say I'm searching on the property here, and I could put a note on there. Hey, honey, what do you think about this house? I can give it a thumbs up, and it asks me, what do you like about this property? Love the way it looks. And so the team can share these things with each other. But let's take a look at it from your perspective as an agent, okay? And I'm going to go to my web browser here now. And I'm recording this, by the way, Rick, so if you missed the beginning. So I'm going to log in right now as me, Thomas Agent, and doing exactly what you guys would be doing. You know, Google Chrome remembers your login, of course. And obviously my test lead is buried somewhere at the very bottom. So I'm just going to search my leads by email address, which is something you can do as well. One day you may have 500 or 1,000 leads, and you're looking for Joe Schmo. Well, you can search by email address, or you can search by name and so forth. So here's my lead here, and we can see recent activity. Now it does take a little bit of time to update from houses.net to Commissions Inc. I got something down here. Let's take a look what that is. Oh, this is just a Commissions Inc. corporate conversation. We can ignore that. So let me go ahead and take a look at the tester lead. So here's all of the information that you normally have. Here are the nodes, and as you can see, there's a test node in here. In the history, you'll be able to see communications emails forth and back. Okay, so here's, for example, the house that I just favorited. Here's the showing request that came in. So all of the history that takes place is in here. Let's take a look at the properties that we looked at. And let me go back to the list view. We have one search right now saved. We have two that are liked or thumbed up. And then the other stuff is, information that, about pre-qualifying and so forth doesn't apply. But let's take a look at here at the inbox. At the inbox, you're going to see the showing request that came through. Okay. And you have two messages actually in here. You have the message from the lead to you, and you have the message from, from the system itself, showing request. And Commissions Inc., sends you things every which way, so you obviously also have a text message here. So let me show you on my screen on my iPhone. Hold on. Okay, so at the top here, you can see the showing request. Tester has requested a showing for golf truck. So the text message doesn't have all of the information that the Commissions Inc. Application has in there, but in your Commissions Inc. app as an agent, of course, you would have the full message in your inbox. I'm logged into my Commissions Inc. application with a different login. But in the Commissions Inc. app, since you're not going to be logged into multiple logins, you're going to see the message that you received and that we saw on the web browser here. So you're also going to have an email. I'm not going to go into my email box right now, but you're also going to have an email message from Commissions Inc. So when your person communicates with you on houses.net, it pushes it into your Commissions Inc. app, whether they send you a showing request or they send you a message or something else, So for example, in houses.net, the person may just be sending a message, You know, if we go here into my inbox and I want to send a message, hello, call me, please. So this message was just sent. If I go now into my web browser, my back office, there we go. The message came in. Okay, so it's a great way to communicate forth and back. And another feature that's awesome with houses.net is the recommendations. You know, when you as an agent send something to the buyer, and so let me show you how that is done. And I'm going to use again this test record here. So I'm going here into back to my leads record. And so when you send an email to a contact, you just click on their email message and it pops up a message field, and you can use that to send a once-off message, either an email message, a text message, or a plain message. So here by default it's email, which means it's an HTML email that's going to have you know, all of the formatting and so forth that comes through, just like with the property updates. But you could send a plain text email as well, then it wouldn't have any of the additional branding and information. Or you can send a text message to the cell phone. So I'm not going to use a template. I'm just going to type something. And at the bottom, you have two options. One is send and one is continue. When you hit send, then that's just going to send the message off to the contact. Okay. When you click on continue, it's going to open up the message compose window, which gives you a lot more features and functionalities. Okay. So up here, you can, for example, insert dynamic tags. Okay. So you got all of these dynamic tags in here that you can send. And so you have, for example, you know, a partner, if there's a partner record, favorite city, which would be the city that they registered with that's in their record, and so forth. So there's a lot of pre-configured things you can pop in here, but you can also down here add property info. Okay. And so when you click on add property info, this little field pops up, and you have one of two possibilities here. You can just copy and paste an MLS number from a listing, and that will insert it. So let's just hop here onto, actually, let me go here. No, let me go here. No, I'm going to pick one from here. Let's just take this here, one of Rick's listings in Dunedin. You know, there's an MLS listing ID, so let's just pop this one, copy and paste it. So one thing I can do is just copy and paste an MLS number here, and then I'm going to hit enter. And that's going to execute the search, and so we have this property. So I could go ahead and add that one property. I could actually add another property, you know. I could go ahead and type something, let's say Gulf Boulevard, and it's going to find every property that has that search criteria in here, you know, and I could attach one of those properties. Okay. And then I hit send. So it's going to send the message. And when we go back now to our lead, I mean, obviously the lead number one is going to get an email letting them, you know that here is some properties for you. And it's going to look very much like the normal property updates that are being sent out, but it's going to have your header, you know, your subject line and so forth in there. But it's also going to pop them into their houses.net app. Okay, So if I go up here to the recommended tab now, here we go. Here are the 2 properties that you recommended to me. Okay, and so I can say, all right, this one here, I can thumb down. Okay, too small. Okay, and this one here I could thumb up. I could even send also a message to the agent about this property. So the thumb up and down things are internal just for you and your team of people that is looking at stuff. But you could send a message to the agent from here, and then obviously the agent gets that information. But this one here, I'm going to thumb up. I'm going to like it, which is also going to heart the record on your Commissions Inc. When you look at which properties did the person heart, it's going to be one of them. And so hell yeah. Okay, and now of course my recommendation tab is clear again. But if I go over here to my homes, I'm going to have the properties here. Here's the one that we just looked at that I just added my comment to. So houses.net, again, it works forth and back with your Commissions Inc. site. And the idea really is to engage the buyer to use your site and use your application. Okay, and the more they use that site, the more information you're going to get about properties that they looked at, and the more information you have to talk with them, and you have the stickability. If you explain to them how to use it and that they can invite team members, friends, family, and so forth, then it's even more people using the application, and it really helps them to improve their home buying process. So let's go back here into the website.
Is this what the psychological side of that, like feeling possession of it a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's take a look at. Hold on. Let's take a look at the Tony Tester record here again, and on the hearts here you can see that this thing here has been favorited. Now you as an agent could send a message back to the buyer. Hey, I just saw that you like this property. Do you want me to get you some more information on it? And if they're seriously considering it, being proactive, getting them a sales disclosure, maybe an insurance quote, do you need flood insurance, whatever their concerns might be, obviously engages them. The value in the Commissions Inc. CRM is to give you data that you can use to manage that relationship. If you're just putting people in here and you hope that they're going to call you when they're ready to do something, then that point gets completely missed. Also, you may want to offer to show them, to help them set up maybe searches if they keep liking the same type of properties. So here again, here are all the properties that that they had on here. Now, one difference I just want to show you, and this is very, very important, when you look at views versus favorite, you want to be sure to check off the favorite tag to see all of the properties that they looked at, to include the properties that they looked at on their website as well as in houses.net, because views will only show things that they clicked through on an email that you sent them. So when they click through on an email link, that's going to show up on the views. So let's take a look at the houses.net application itself. And I'm going to go into a incognito window here. So houses.net, and I'm going to log in here now. And I'm going to show you some of the differences. And then finally, I'm going to re-stress again how to properly invite people into houses.net. Because if you don't do it properly, you may lose potential leads or prospects. So I'm going to just log into my houses.net here. And you're going to see that this houses.net website is much more simple than, first of all, your Commissions Inc. website. So you have much more searchability on the Commissions Inc. website and flexibility. It drives them to download the app, obviously. And when we go up here, you have just a couple of tabs here. You have search homes, and so you can do your home search, and the thing looks different from the Commissions Inc. search experience. You have My Notebook, which under My Notebook, you have the properties that were thumbed up. You have searches that the person has set up. I just got one search set up here. You got any updates. So it's kind of like a timeline, and you can see, your team updates, what you did and what other team members did. You got a schedule here, but there's nothing on the schedule right now, and you have your search team here. So that's pretty much it. So you don't have your agent's recommendation. You don't have an inbox here. You can't receive or send messages from here the way you do from your other application. So houses.net is really just something that is designed on the web to be a lead capture tool for Commissions Inc. and a tool that somebody can go to, I don't know, for some reason they don't have access to their mobile app and they want to get to their search team and see what their wife thought about a property, because that would not be available through the Commissions Inc. app. Now, Commissions Inc., the company, when they launched houses.net, they are actually, and let me go ahead and log out here, they're actually promoting this on a massive way, and they want houses.net to be a little bit like a Zillow of sorts. Of course, it'll never be like Zillow when you look at the reach that Zillow has, but they are promoting it, and the idea is to get people to come and use houses.net for their search experience and the collaborative search features and the stuff that they have and how you connect with agents is a little bit unique, although I wouldn't be surprised if Zillow isn't coming out with something very similar very soon, if they already haven't got that. And but if somebody comes to houses.net and registers here and does a search, okay, they're going to be prompted to register. So let me go ahead and do a new incognito window and see what that looks like. So let's say I'm Joe Schmo and I follow the link to houses.net, or David said, Joe, we got that great application that you should use. It's called houses.net. Why don't you go ahead and check it out? And I'm like, sure, David, I'll go ahead and do that. And so, all right, let me go ahead and look for something here in Braden in 3 bedrooms. I don't want to spend more than $100,000. Let me see what I find. That's some house. Oh my God, look at this house. This looks beautiful. I always dreamed about having a wooden thing like that. Okay, and I'll start looking around here. And if I engage here and request some showings or do any kind of thing, or if I keep searching after 3 or 4 searches, it'll pop up a thing to prompt me to register. Commissions Inc. will actually dynamically assign the lead to an agent that is working in that marketplace. Okay, so if you're doing this in Pinellas County, and I don't know, there might be 7 agents that are in the Pinellas County, Tampa Bay area that have a Commissions Inc. website, then it's just going to randomly assign it to one of those people. And you don't want that, obviously, because it's your lead. So, you don't want me to be assigned to someone else, I know a couple of agents here in town that use Commissions Inc. And so I don't want my lead to go to them, or even within the same company. Heck, I mean, Jesus Christ, all of a sudden that lead gets reassigned to Glenda because the lead decides to sign up with a different email address than they gave you when they signed up with you. It happens. So you don't want to do that. The way you want to invite and engage people with Commissions Inc., and this is so with houses.net, and that's so important, is by sending them an invite email. Okay, and the way you do that is, again, from any lead record, and I'm just going to grab one. And I have actually about a month and a half ago went ahead and invited everyone to Commissions Inc. But let's say, for example, here, Doug, this is a new lead assigned to Janine. And Janine, I'm not going to send them an invite to houses.net, but this is what you would do. Let's say, you know what? When you talk to them, you want to let them know, listen, we have an awesome app that you can use to search the MLS in real time. You can drive around and it'll show you what's near you. So if you're standing in front of a house that's for sale, you have access to the MLS record right there. It's a collaborative tool. You can invite your wife or your friends to become part of your team and give feedback on properties and give thumbs ups and down and so forth. So it's really an awesome tool, and it's absolutely free, and you're welcome to use it whether you end up working with me or not. Doesn't matter. So here's what I'm going to do, David. I'm going to send you a link to that app right now to download, and it works for both iPhone and Android. And then you go ahead and you send them an email from here. Okay, and you go down and search the template, and there are a bunch of templates here, and there's one that's called houses.net mobile app for home buyers. It says unknown behind it because it was created by someone at Commissions Inc. Corporate. And then you just hit send. Boom, that's it. Okay, so that's sending the thing to them. You can do it while you have them on the phone. You can do it from your mobile sync app as well. And if you do it after you get off the phone, then guess what? It's a great opportunity to follow up later in the day. Maybe send a text message. Hey, David, just want to check in with you to see if you received the houses.net app. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And when it sends it to them, it actually puts in their user ID and password. So because people many times don't remember when they signed up what that password was, most of the time it's their phone number. And they're good to go. So I'm just going to X this out. I'm not sending this out. Something you need to do yourself, Janine, when you talk to them. But it's also so important. And when you talk to people after that in the future, the next week, whenever, ask them, are you using the app or not? And one of the first ways to see if they're using it is, number one, you can send them recommendations. And obviously don't see the recommendations if they don't join and use the app. But most importantly, when they get their updates, their search updates, okay? So the system generates updates that match their searches when new property comes on the market that matches their search criteria. If they use houses.net, it pops it into their recommendation folder as well, And so what do people do? Just instinctively, just thumb up, thumb down, And you just ask them to communicate with you on that, and that gives you feedback that you can then use to see, okay, well, here are the properties that they like. Maybe I need to fine-tune my search or what have you not. And that's just an ongoing conversation you need to have, especially with people that are looking for something a little bit further out. So very, very, very important tool, and the agents that are using it are finding great success. The last thing you want is for someone to use someone else's app, and they did studies. Number one, in terms of who do agents work with, buyers work with in terms of agents, and 85% of the time they will work with the first agent that they made a connection with. Okay, so that's why it's so important to rapidly get back to people and talk to them and really create a relationship and not just call them and say, hey, I saw you went on our website and looked for your homes. I'm a realtor. Can I help you? It's like, hell no. I wouldn't want to work with someone like that. So that's the first important thing. But the second thing that's also true again is 80 to 90% of people do their stuff online using a mobile app. Okay. And guess what they're going to use? People are not going to download 17 million mobile apps. All right. So if some other realtor or some other agent or some other company got them to download their app, then that's the app that they're going to use. Because let's face it, they have access to all the same information. Everyone uses the IDX feed. So, whether they use Remax's app or Coldwell Banker's app or our app or whatever, doesn't make a difference. They have access to all the same stuff. Yes, they don't have the team feature and what have you not, but all the other stuff is the same pretty much. And so it's, again, very important to get them to use your app and just keep driving that point home with them for them to use it. And I would send them this template actually personally. I would send it to them as an email repeatedly. But then I would also send it as a text message, okay? Because in the text message, it's going to be a long-ass text message, but it'll have the URL to the app right there in the text message. It's kind of long, but I would just go back and repeatedly send it to them, but email for sure, and make sure that you keep it in the default. You don't want to make it as a plain text email. You want to send it as a default HTML email. Another thing, while I'm on there, a lot of people have problems with email deliverability because crap goes into their junk folder, and a lot of these email clients, like Google, for example, are getting much smarter now. When in the past it used to be, all right, David sends me an email, and I click on the little junk icon at the top, spam icon, and so moving forward, all the crap that comes from David goes into the spam folder. Okay. Well, now what's happening is that if I get things from different realtors sending me their stupid MLS sheets of their just listed things, for example, and I, tag 4 or 5 of them as spam. Well, Google thinks that all email from realtors is spam. And as a result, some other realtor sending me something and it goes straight into the spam folder, So best email practices, number one, when you're talking to your clients, when you send them something, is to make sure that they received it, that it didn't go into their spam folder. And if it did go in the spam folders, let them know there's a link at the top that says not spam. Click on that so that in the future it doesn't happen again. Super, super important. Otherwise, all of your marketing efforts are in vain. The second thing is for yourself. What I do is once a day, and I usually do it in the morning, I go to my spam folder and I just scan down, and then I'll just empty the entire spam folder, dump it. It says it dumps it automatically up to 30 days, but I don't want to have 7,000 things in my spam folder. But I just scan it down, and I've had many times where there are things from attorneys or even from our own team members or from other people that I'm doing business with that ended up in the spam folder. Just the other day, I had I talked to an insurance agent. I'm like, hey, you were going to send me something, and it's been 3 days, and I haven't gotten it. And I sent him another reminder, and then I sent him a nasty text message. They're like, what the hell, And then I talked to them. I figured, okay, I'm picking up the phone. I called them, and it's like, oh, we sent it to you, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, it wasn't a damn spam folder, So just be aware of that because it's so important. So again, houses.net, the mobile app, make sure that you use it. It's the icon looks like this here, houses.net at the bottom. And if you don't have it yet, go ahead and download it. Don't log in here with your Commissions Inc. main login. Or you could, I guess, but if you wanted to see how the interaction between yourself and the client is, then create like a dummy client and then log in with that information, have some throwaway email address, set up a dummy lead, email them the houses.net invitation so you see exactly what it looks like, then click through, install the houses.net app, log in with your information from that account, and make sure that that the other side still works, that your main Commission CINC app doesn't all of a sudden try to use that login, So, but that's pretty much it with respect to houses.net. Any questions from anyone regarding that? Scott, you had a question.
I'm just saying, by getting the client involved, does that give them sort of psychological attachment to the houses, like a little more healthy brokerage, like possession or psychology?
That's a great question. That's a great question, and the answer is yes and no, because here's why. We're not really.
Thomas, I didn't hear him. Could you repeat it?
Okay, Jim. The question.
I didn't hear what he said.
Yes. All right, Jim. The question was, and thanks for asking, Jim. The question was whether or not having them use the application and communicating with them helps them create like a psychological bond to the property that they're looking at, and if that's part of the sales psychology for using the app. Is that Yeah. So, and I said the answer is yes or no. No, in a sense that we don't really hard sell a product or a house. Okay, so when the guy likes 7 houses, I'm not going to try and sell them one of those houses, because my concern really is to find out what are their needs and help them find the perfect property that meets their needs. Whether it's one of those 7 houses or some other house, it's really completely irrelevant. What I am selling primarily is myself. Okay, so we're in a communication business, and you sell yourself. You sell yourself to the buyer or the seller for why they should do business with you, as opposed to the 6,200 other realtors that are here in Sarasota and Manatee. Okay, that's the big question. It's not about that house. I'm not going to sell you the house. It's why the hell should I do business with you? And so by getting them to use that application, by getting them to communicate with you through the application and engaging with the application, 2 things happen. Number one, they don't download some other guy's application, because if they don't use your application, at some point they're going to use someone else's application, and then they're going to work with that person. Okay, so that's number one. And number 2 is to cement that relationship with you. So you're getting them bonded to you, as opposed to bonded to the house. You know what I mean? So you create that psychological bond with you, that you are the person that is the source of expertise and information and so forth. And the more often they communicate with you and the more often they engage with you, the stronger that bond gets. Obviously, if you send someone this app and they don't install it, there's 0 bond. If you send someone the app and they install it and they use it once and then never again, well, there's not much of a bond, right? But if they install the app and they actually use it to actively search, and when they drive around on the weekend, they look what kind of homes are there, and then they use the thumbs up or thumbs down, and they maybe send you some messages on it, maybe request a showing from you. Now you got a very, very strong bond between the 2 of you. So that's really where that comes in. Great question, Scott. Does anyone else have any other questions?
I came up with an issue from open house where the customer looked at my website right away, our website, and he said the icons are too small. He can't see it when they have his mobile phone. Is there a way to put a facing page which is larger with our logo on it? Maybe my name, and hit that takes us to our website. For instance, www.sarasotoluxuryhomes.com.
Okay.
Look that up on the mobile phone. The information bar on top is too small for people to get or really understand. It's got the about, it's got realty.com.
What's your address?
Sarasota Luxury Homes, SRQ.com. Or you can use anybody's, it all comes up the same. The icon bars is too small across the top for mobile phones. It's his complaint. And you just looked up at me, and I didn't say anything because I realized what he was saying. So it's
Well, let's take a look at that.
So if it could be a larger graphic to get into it.
That's a good point. And you know what?
See the profit on the top.
Yeah.
If we could do
that's a great point. The answer, we ourselves can't do anything about it. but Commissions Inc., the company, can.
Okay.
So I'm going to send a request to Commissions Inc. about that. Good question.
Houses.net. Now, I'm not familiar with it at all. I haven't seen it. That's, I'm going to promote it now with everybody I have on Facebook and things like that.
Well, actually, remember, you don't want to promote houses.net to anyone that is not in your Commissions Inc. database. And the only way to promote it is out of your Commissions Inc. database by sending them an invitation link.
Gotcha.
Okay? Because if you start promoting it on Facebook, then someone else is going to get those people, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah. So, any other questions about houses.net or any other questions about anything while we're here? Got 8 more minutes in our meeting.
I have a new listing which I'd like to announce. It's 1443 Bramley Court in Bradenton. List for $650. The house is unbelievable. Go to the MLS. It's A4175282. I had a fairly successful open house over the weekend. On Sunday, somebody stole my 2 signs. Those signs allowed inside.
So let me ask you this.
GPS.
So do you have your own signs or do you want to have the company installed signs?
I have my own signs.
Okay.
I have my own signs.
All right.
I couldn't do anything. You can't do anything inside the property. I found that. The guard didn't tell me that. Anyway, I just want to pass it. Now I have a GPS little attachment on all my signs so I can follow them. It's called Tracker. You can get it at Best Buy if you have concerns or you have a lot of money.
Is that a community where you can have a sign? I mean, it could very well be that.
Turned out no. They don't even tell me that.
Yeah.
And the guard didn't say that. You can have signs outside the gate, but nothing inside. Nothing inside.
That's, one of the things, just a thought, when you take a listing in a gated community especially, I would always assume that either there are no signs allowed or that there are special signs that you have to order from the community sign vendor. And so I would ask the association directly. I would ask the seller for the name of the association, and then I would ask the association directly. If for some reason you can't figure out and you don't know who's the management company for an association, fire over an email to Berlin Patton, our law firm, and just say, hey, do you have the contact information for the association manager for XYZ association, at least here in our local thing. If you're working in Pinellas with an attorney that you've worked with, they'll have that information because they have to order estoppel letters and all that stuff all the time, And then just pick up the phone and call them and find out. Because, it's if you bang a sign in the lawn there, not only are they going to take your sign, with tracker or without a tracker, doesn't make a difference. It goes in the garbage. Depending on the community, you might even fine the owner because they put a sign in there.
That came up yesterday. He didn't care.
And then number 3, it doesn't really look that professional and respectful to the rest of the community where you might hope to get other listings, So when I was working as a listing agent, and for what it's worth, when I walked into a community, whether it's a condominium or a homeowners association, I wanted to know more about that community than the seller that I was talking to. Because a lot of sellers don't have a clue, especially with HOAs. There's no requirement to get the docs. I mean, a lot of people live in HOAs and they have no clue what they can and cannot do. But it's just, which also then shines back on you. I mean, imagine you're going for a condominium or listing, and instead of asking them, well, do you know if you can have pets here and how many and how big can they be and how often can you rent? And you're asking that of the owner, and the owner is sure will be happy to tell you most likely. But just contrast that with you as you're going through the sheet and say, oh yeah, I know, you can only have 2 pets and you can this and that. Or, did anything change in the rule where you could only have, 2 pets up to 25 pounds? And that, again, in the owner's mind, is just going to reinforce that they made the right decision in hiring you because you really know your crap. You're an expert for XYZ community X. But, and that obviously requires also doing some homework, For example, going in the MLS, looking at other listings and see what it says in there. All right, here's Sally, so listing agent that she lists half of all the properties in the thing. Well, you know what? I'm going to call her and just pretend that I might have someone that might be interested in one of her listings. I'm going to pick her freaking brain to find out everything and anything about the community.
I did that after the fact. You won't let every open house in the community.
So you live and learn,
Okay.
But it's all right. Any other questions, thoughts? No? All right, well, listen, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in. And I got to say, you know, all of you Braden and Sarasota people that were too scared and afraid to braze the rain and wind this morning, you know, Rick Marcuson rode his Harley across the Skyway Bridge. Well, yeah, I think he took his car, but
It was windy.
it was windy, yes. Crazy. I mean, I got up this morning, it was just looked like it's blowing over palm trees in my yard.
My phone was going off all night late last night about the tornado coming across in the Gulf, but I don't think it ever got.
So, guys, next week, we're going to have the meeting again, of course, also via GoToMeeting as well. I'm going to try something new next week. I got this giant Yeti microphone that we're going to put in the middle of the desk. I'm going to see if we get better sound quality from everyone else, because right now you just got my good sound quality because I'm talking right at my laptop. And see if we can go from there. A couple of things in closing. Make sure you're on Facebook Workplace. Scott, make sure that you get on there, and David will work with you on that. In Facebook Workplace, David, there is a group for announcing new listings. Make sure that you put your new listing announcement in there and let everyone know. I looked at the photography and the tour, and it's absolutely awesome. You know, so that provider is doing absolutely excellent work. I listed them in the group, the vendors group. Rick, you may want to call them and see if they do business down in Pinellas County. I mean, they do just amazing work, and they're really inexpensive. They start at $150 for a 3D tour. The big package is $300. It includes drone, aerial, and everything. And it's really, they're doing an amazing job. Glenda has used them a few times now. David just used them. And when you look at that compared to the presentation of the average listing, there's just no comparison. And again, people search online. And, you know, this whole idea of walking around and taking pictures with your cell phone. I mean, just think about the pictures that you took with your cell phone just so you had something compared to the stuff that the photographer produced. Where would you say, is there any comparison?
I was skeptical about the Matterport use by the end user, so it was less difficult to get onto the MLS than I thought. So I just got it on there. Then when I used it, I found it a little cumbersome. Once I used it a second time, I felt much more comfortable. And I can actually put it on Facebook by itself. People that's finding it there.
Remember
it's branded or unbranded, so you can do it both ways.
Well, if you put it on Facebook, make sure it's branded. You know. Yeah. Ideally, you would want to do it through the Commission CINC site. And I don't know if the IDX updates on the weekend, but I would check back later today, and the listing should be on the Commission CINC website. Because then, of course, yes, you don't have a direct link to the tour, but when they click through to you, they get registered, and you register the lead. You know.
And I just want to mention, thank you, Thomas, for getting me on 20 real estate websites. Although it showed up at Trulia, it came right on. My customers saw it right away on Facebook.
Well, that's done through List Hub Pro, you know.
Whatever.
And
we just have to pay for that and call them back.
And another thing to notice is that more and more search portals, including Zillow and Trulia, give preference to 3D listings. So listings that have a 3D Matterport tour get better visibility. And so anyhow, all right. Well, thank you, everyone, and I'm going to wrap things up now. If you need anything, send me a message on Workplace, and I'll see you all next week, unless I see you at one of the meetings. We have an event today, this week, Wednesday, in St. Petersburg, and we're going to have an event on Thursday in Orlando. So we're going to kick things off there. And of course, you're welcome to come there. You're welcome to invite people there. The events are on Facebook. So you can share them with people. If you know anyone in Orlando or Pinellas County, please do so. All right. So thank you so much, and have an amazing week. We're in the season, so now's the time to stir the pot.